Good morning, good noon, and good night, citizens of Upland and newcomers alike. Welcome to the Upland Action News. Boy, do we have a big show for you. I'm talking big, like big one, like big, like so big that I don't want to F around. I just want to jump right into it. So, on that note, it's time for the Action News. There is a new event starting this Friday, the 14th at 10 a.m. The event is called Art Walk. While this is not a competitive event, the Art Walk will function very much like a scavenger hunt, but everyone who completes it will receive a limited edition art-themed block explorer. You can't lose this one, folks. There is an entry fee to take part in the Art Walk, and the tickets go on sale today, Thursday, August 13th at 10 a.m. But do not worry, you will earn more UPX than you spend by the end of it. A look in the description below for the link to the full article about the Art Walk on Medium. Also, make sure to go over to the Upland official Discord channel, as there will be a lot of chatter going on during the event. As well, if you stop by 700 Indiana Street over in Dogpatch, this is one of Left House's, one of my properties, right next to the Dogpatch Art Plaza. If you stop by there, 700 Indiana Street, we will give you, we're going to spin the wheel and give away some free NFTs on the next episode. For those who stop by, you will be on the wheel. But who knows? Perhaps 700 Indiana Street is already on the pathway of the Art Walk. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll just have to see. And in other news, Upland Central's contest that took place at University Mound is now completed, and it was a success. Many amazing prizes such as NFTs and UPX were given away to many winners, but the grand prize, a huge property, the Hillcrest Elementary School building, was awarded to Uplander Maddit. Congratulations to Maddit. Check out the link in the description to find the full event breakdown and to find out who the other winners are. And in other news, and in other news, and in other news, and in other news. Oh, by the way, people wanted to know what it is that I'm drinking. I'm not drinking anything. New York, here we come. We've broken 39% in the great 40% challenge. If we break 40%, the doors of New York open, and we have now crossed the 39% threshold line. There is a lot of Uplanders' names I do not know on the top 10 list for the Hello New York City challenge. And it is clear that the world of Upland has grown. And in other news, Upland Data gives the weekly numbers, and he is giving away some UPX. If his contest announcement video gets 25 likes, which it has, he is giving 4 players a chance to win up to 10,000 UPX. The link to Upland Data's contest is in the description below. And in other news, want to meet an Uplander? Meet me! You can meet me in the form of an interview on the amazing and informative website Upland Guru, upland.guru. They are doing interviews with citizens of Upland as part of a series called Meet an Uplander. Check out the link in the description below. And in other news, City Hall is still under construction. Our featured guest for our show, RECOURIER. He is a passionate Uplander with the brain of a genius, and he came to Upland by way of crypto, much like your old pal Left House did. We sat down with RECOURIER earlier this week, and this is what he had to say. Let's take a listen. How are you doing today?
Not too bad.
You came to Upland through the crypto world then, yeah?
Yeah, so I was kind of looking for some crypto games to play, and everything out there pretty much is a gambling game. And I wasn't really looking for something that was just straight up gambling, because I've played a couple of those and some of them have good UI and they're kind of fun, but they all just boil down to being like dice games or something.
Yeah.
And so I was poking around at some different stuff and I wanted something on mobile, and I found Upland and I gave it a try. And, I kind of was liking it, but honestly, at first, I was totally confused about the different colors of the properties.
Yeah.
And I was actually getting a little frustrated trying to figure it out. So I was like, all right, well, forget it. I just got to throw a couple bucks at this to become an Uplander so I can use the marketplace. And so I did that, and I started playing, and I was like, all right, I can throw a couple more bucks at it. And then I played a little more and learned a little more. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to be involved with it and get into it and get into some of the real collections and flipping the properties and doing all of the stuff and getting involved. And, that takes a little bit of money or a lot of time and patience.
Correct.
And,
Yes.
And time I can be on short supply, and patience sometimes too. So
Yes.
so I put some cash in, and I've been playing it and I've been enjoying it. And then really the community has been the sticking point for me, because everybody's pretty cool about stuff, and there's a very much community driven, rising tide raises all boats type vibe, which is really nice and really positive.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody that I talk to, they definitely have something to say about the community, and myself included. Like that's not what I expected to find when I got into the game. It's very interesting how many, how diversified the community is, like between people that found it through crypto, and then people who are just like pure gamers and found it that way. And so it makes for an interesting conversation, I feel like, a lot of the times. And since you've came from the crypto side, how do you see this playing out in the future?
Well, I think that you can't be all on one side or the other. There's a couple people that are saying like, this is a game, this is only a game, and it's nothing more than that. And if that were true, it wouldn't really have the appeal that I think it actually has.
I agree with that.
And then there's some other people that are just looking at it as, okay, this is a 17% interest. I can't get 17% interest anywhere else, or I have trouble getting it everywhere else. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff. I'm going to, collect my interest, and I'm going to cash it out. And those are your two ends of the bell curve, right? And then you have a bunch of people in the middle that are living with a foot in each world. And, some are leaning more one way and some are leaning more another way. But it's really been impressive how much on the Discord channels we're able to have conversations coming from conflicting point of views, and then get to some middle ground where it's like, oh, okay, I think I see the other side a little more. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
People like putting up their defenses. It's open to conversation, which you don't always see.
Yeah, definitely. I even feel like that the whole NFT aspect is like sort of bridging that gap too. Like the concept of collecting things in game pieces, or art around the edges of it, is kind of a new concept to me. But I'm obsessed with creating and making these NFTs, because it's sort of like I feel like I found my home, because it's like scrap art or whatnot in a weird way. Like there's this, it's open, you can do whatever you want with it in a strange way. But thinking about the fact that each property is an NFT on its own, And like think about some of like the, you know, I don't know, like I came across this one site called Niftex, Niftex, and it seems like they have like an exchange on there where they're like you can trade within fractions of an NFT. So like I haven't like deep dived to figure out what all that means, but it leads me to start thinking about like the future of like there being exchanges like NFT exchanges where it's like there's art, there's property from Upland, there's property from Decentraland, there's, you know, like it's just an NFT exchange, you know. So no matter what platform or where it was built from, like potentially like they might be like, you know, different cryptos or something like that, like different altcoins or something, and are all backed by like, you know, something like wax or something like that. Yeah. But you know, you could trade them just like a crypto. Why not? You know what I mean? Like what's stopping that from happening if it's not already happening already?
I think, you know, there's some platforms that do that. You know, I don't know about the fractional ones, but that's really a cool idea. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
I think Upland is in a way creating a second world NFT exchange. You know, that's kind of what it's going to be. And really, I read through the AMA stuff, and the stuff that's just come out this week really is super cool. And I think there's some parts of it that being familiar and having a crypto background lets you pick through, you know, read between the lines on some of the stuff that they're saying.
Yeah.
And how they're talking about bringing NFTs in and out. I was really wondering how those mechanics were going to work, and they answered that. And they actually answered it really in depth if you're familiar with how the process works in the crypto world. And I'm not sure, do you know about wrapper systems and different stuff like that?
No, like, yeah, no, educate me.
Okay, so this is really super cool. It's how some places get around the atomic swaps and chain integrations. And they're using it on Ethereum, and there's another project that I'm familiar with that has used it, but a lot of places are using it. So you have a smart contract that's written, and say you want to use Bitcoin on the Ethereum network, right?
Yeah.
You have a deposit address. That Bitcoin comes in, goes into that smart contract, and then goes into a deposit address, and the smart contract mints an amount of what's called wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC,
right,
equal to the amount of Bitcoin that you deposited. Now that's just a token on Ethereum, and you move it around on Ethereum however you want, and then you trade it to this guy, you trade it to that guy, blah, 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 blah. When you want it to come out, you withdraw it. It goes back to that smart contract. It burns the wrapped token that represented that Bitcoin, so that goes away forever. And then it withdraws the actual real Bitcoin back on the Bitcoin network to whatever address you want. That's how they explained they were going to do it with the NFTs, because NFTs are just tokens on the network. You know, the ones and zeros don't care if it's a currency or if it represents an asset. It's a token just like anything else is a token. It's just a token that represents a very specific thing instead of a generic token that could represent any amount of a currency, right?
Right.
So those NFTs will come in and they'll go into a custodial wallet. They'll continue to exist. Let's say we're talking about an ERC20 NFT or a Wax NFT that we want to bring into Upland. It'll come in, it'll sit in a custodial wallet that someone from Upland will be responsible for. And it functionally, they're saying it works as an escrow. From that, they will generate, since Upland's on EOS, they'll generate an EOS token that has all the same attributes and is tied directly to that Wax or ERC or whatever token. And then you use it in the game in Upland. And you can swap it for a day or two, use it for a year, whatever.
Right.
When somebody wants to pull it back out, it'll go back to that smart contract. It'll burn the EOS token that was getting used in Upland, and then send that NFT to whatever address you want.
Oh, very cool.
And that is how they explained it. But if you weren't already familiar with the wrapper system that is used in crypto, you wouldn't realize that that's what they said they were doing.
The article that you wrote about Upland sort of like making like a mini, crypto universe and kind of hitting all the different angles of it. After reading all of the town hall questions and stuff, do you still feel like it's hitting that mark? It's still kind of creating this inner crypto world, if you will.
It's still going for that vision, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that they said that solidified that, and some of their clarifications on the laws that they have to deal with and stuff like that were decent. They can't get too detailed until they have it figured out, so that's understandable. But they made a point of saying, Upland is more than just a game. They want to see this as a metaverse that blurs the lines between real world and cryptocurrency. And I see them holding that trajectory. And the article you're talking about, that one I wrote, pretty early on. And if you understand and are used to the cryptocurrency culture of 2017 and 2018, after the whole ICO boom, and coming up with airdrops and all of these different mechanics to move stuff around, it was very clunky, right? Back then. Everything was long character strings and knowing your way around, some amount of technology, and double and triple checking addresses and all of those things. But what was happening in the airdrops and the exchanges and all of these things that was very techy, Upland has taken all of that complex stuff and gamified it. So people coming from a gaming background, they get in there and they're like, oh, I'm just playing my game. Oh, I'm going to sell, this property to this guy, and I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to do this thing, and I get these piñatas and I get all of these different things. And the mechanics of what's happening on the blockchain, all of that stuff has been happening for years. It's just been happening in a completely different format.
Right.
And they took all of that and made it so remarkably accessible.
In the future, like, what are the capabilities? Like what do you know about the capabilities of an NFT? Like what are the limits?
It's really interesting because right before the Blockchain Heroes launch, which was its own hot mess, they had an interview, the Bad Crypto guys, with the main guy from Wax, and he was talking about what Wax wants to bring to the NFT world, and he really laid it out. And he was like, listen, all of these NFTs are little tiny pieces of software that do whatever you want it to do. And maybe it's just a little GIF file, or maybe it's an animated GIF, or maybe it can do some more things, but they're all little tiny things that are born out of smart contracts. And what that means is the software that is embedded to the NFT, you can find a way to make that run on computers and do whatever you could do with any other piece of software.
That's insane.
So he was like, the sky's the limit. We've just got to figure a couple things out. But once you get there, an NFT can have, like you were talking about with that movie pass, he was like, we could make an NFT that is one thing, and then who knows, a year later, it does something that nobody knew it was going to do. and just
Yeah.
spits out another NFT that you didn't know you were going to get, or does some function. On Splinterlands, they have NFTs where Splinterlands is like a card game. It's kind of like
Yeah, I know it. I actually sold all my cards to buy properties in Upland. Like after
oh, okay.
playing it for like 2.5 years, I was like, I'm tired of this game. I'm moving over. But yeah, so
So one of the cool things in Splinterlands is the stacking. Like if you have 10 of a card, that's the exact same card, you can merge them together and now your one card gets more powerful.
right.
So those are just, somebody wrote that little piece of software to know when there's others of the same card, it's going to morph. It's going to become something new, something better, something different.
Out of the whole town hall thing, was there anything that really got you excited?
I think that they gave a lot of like I said, reading between the lines of what they were saying and understanding it cleared a lot of questions up for me on how the underlying mechanics are going to work. And I think the thing that was most interesting was how they said they're going to move NFTs in and out of game.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, since I'm familiar with that wrapper system, that makes total sense. That turns the light bulb on for me, and I know exactly how they're going to do it. And I know that system works because they've been using it in crypto for years.
Yeah.
So it's really straightforward. And the fact that they committed to, they're also going to have a mechanism for you to take physical real world items and essentially send it to them for escrow. And they'll build that NFT, and then you can go have it in Upland, trade it, sell it, who knows.
Yeah.
And then, you know, somebody else can get it. You could open, I mean, just for an example, right? You could open a real world comic book shop in Upland. You get a bunch of comic books, you get them graded. I just found out this week, talking from one of the people from Upland, they have these companies out there that will grade collectibles. They'll look through whether it's baseball cards or comic books or whatever. They'll look through it. They'll give it an official grade. They'll put it inside like a hard sleeve. They'll put their grading on it and say, this is what this is worth. Then that becomes very official. You know, this is a grade A, a grade B, a grade C. Well, if you do that, you send all those into Upland, now people can buy and sell those comic books, the NFTs for those real world comic books. And then if you want it, if you're like, hey, I want this comic book, I want to bring it home with me, I want to have it in your house, they'll have a mechanism for you to grab it and take it. And so now so much of this economy of the world that might not exist, you know, if you're out in the Midwest, you've got this awesome comic book collection from when you were a kid. Well, how many comic book stores are there around, right? It's completely inaccessible. It takes away those inaccessibilities from people in rural areas and opens up their own personal economy to be global.
Yes.
I mean, that's powerful.
Very powerful. Yeah.
I'm also really kind of excited with them. They've committed to trying to find a way to make it accessible to lower threshold players.
Yes.
And you know, I came in with every intention of staying a low threshold player and got sucked in and put some money in, and I've made some deals, and you know, I can move around and do things fairly freely now.
Yeah.
But not everybody's going to do that, and I think it's important to provide that accessibility to players that want to, like, they don't have any aspirations of being a director. They want to get a couple pieces of property. They want to do their thing.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome too. And the
Or
fact
they
that
want to come in and go look at the NFT comic book shop. You know what I mean? Like this,
Yeah.
like, or there's like a game, like some specific treasure hunter, a game that hasn't been invented yet, that like they're coming in to play just that only or whatnot. Like that, I see that too.
And I like kind of their deal with how they're rolling out New York in 2% increments. Like, they're very careful to not crash the existing economy by implementing new economies, which is smart.
Yeah, well, wicked. Well, thanks for having this chat, and
Yeah, man. For sure.
let's do it again in the future. And thanks for everything.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. Well, folks, that's all we have time for the Upland Action News this week. I hope you learned as much as I did. And now, well, folks, we got to talk. We got to talk about the likes. We got to talk about the this amazing Upland t-shirt that we're trying to give away. 50 likes. We give away the shirt. We haven't done it. What are we going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start all over again. We're at 0. Next episode, we get 50 likes. We give this shirt away. That's the news. And I am out of here. Good morning, good noon, and good night. We'll see you in Upland, people.